Welcome to Things I Can't Say, the podcast for the things parents whisper, not post. I'm Annie, a parent who's walked through the quiet, lonely hallways of raising a child with traits that don't fit neatly into any of the parenting books, or on anyone's social media feed either. Each week we'll open the door to stories that rarely get told out loud. I'll start with mine, and then you'll hear from other parents, mental health professionals, and people who know what it means to live in the gray instead of the black and white. This is a place where shame loses its power, where complexity isn't feared but explored, and where love doesn't have to be easy in order to be real. If you've ever felt like no one else could possibly understand, you're not alone here. This is Things I Can't Say, and I am so glad you're here. Faith and mental illness are two topics that don't seem to go together very well. And this might be a very niche topic for a group of people who have tried to walk this road, or who serve people who might be attempting to walk this road. But I feel like it's something we just don't talk about enough. I used to work in ministry full time. I met my husband in church when I was in middle school. Church has been a major part of my life. It was my entire community. That was my family. Everyone I talked to, everyone I communicate, church was it for me. Those were my people. And then I had kids who did not fit that mold. And until you've lived in that world, I don't know exactly how to explain that in a way that does not sound like I'm attacking Christians, but I feel like it has to be talked about in some way. Churches aren't all created for people who struggle. Um, they're made for people who know how to behave, for kids who know how to sit in a classroom, for kids who know how to listen. The private Christian schools are not typically created for children who struggle. Those kids who come in with major trauma, behavioral issues, mental illness, the Christian private schools often do not have the supports in place for that. So while my social media memories that come up are like 10 years ago, where everything that I posted had something to do with God, there were Bible verses everywhere and so much gratitude for my church family. Like that was my life 10 years ago. And then that all shifted because I had a family who was struggling so deeply and so intensely, and I lost my community. I lost the people who before understood me. And now I was living a life that no one seemed to understand. Where if you wanted to be healed from something, you just have enough faith. You just pray about it. You just do the right thing and then it fixes it all. And we're walking a path where we're doing all the right things and nothing is fixing it. Because you can't love trauma out of a child. You can't love mental illness out of a child. There is a journey that is walked, and it's messy, and it doesn't always feel good, and people get hurt along the way. And it gets real lonely when your core group of people don't understand. When I talk about our family publicly, I get a lot of, your kids need Jesus. You need to take your kids to church. Your family needs God. I hear all of that because I probably would have agreed with you 10 years ago. I have kids who have been kicked out of private Christian school because they do not fit the mold, and those schools are not made for them. They're made for the kids who know how to behave, who don't have big issues, who don't need extra supports. They're made for the good kids. And I use good kids in quotes because we know what that means. my children have been kicked out of Christian summer camps. Some of the most devastating experiences for me when it has come to religion have been having my kids kicked out of summer camps. This is hard for me to talk about as somebody who has worked with children as part of my job for years and who loves on children. Having my kids so excited to go to camp and have this be a camp that is based on Jesus, based on love, based on grace, based on forgiveness, and then get a phone call that my child just can't quite obey right. You just can't quite fit in to this stereotypical need to be there. And they get sent home, and my children are devastated. And it goes past that. And it might sound selfish of me to say, but those summer camps have been our only form of respite that we have had at all. We pay hundreds of dollars for that week of summer camp in hopes that a child will have fun and get to just be a kid and then we get the phone call that they wouldn't sit in the right spot or they wouldn't listen to the leader. And I'm not, I want to be very clear, I'm not excusing their behavior. I fully believe that if a child is being unsafe in any way, there should be a consequence, all of the things. Um, but it has left added trauma for us. And that added trauma pushed me further away from church. There was one summer when our youngest was at camp. Um, our son was at home. He was really struggling that summer. The youngest was at camp. I had emergency surgery. I was really, really sick. I was in the hospital for three-ish days. My husband's trying to cover everything, and the camp called him while I was in surgery to say that he needed to come right then and pick her up because she wasn't listening. This was like 8 o'clock at night. She's tired. It's almost bedtime. Give her her night medicine. She can go to sleep. Like, we'll be fine. But instead, they got off the phone with him and told her that I was in the hospital, really sick, so she needed to behave, and that he would come and get her the next day. Again, hear my deep breath because that was handled so poorly for a camp to hear us say, I am in emergency surgery. I'm very sick. She's doing okay. Like, she's not listening, but it's also bedtime. And she'll be fine the next day. We know how this works with her. And instead of working with us, you traumatize an already traumatized child by telling her her mom's in the hospital having surgery. So she better behave. We lost so many friends over the years, and I don't blame people. I'm not blaming individual people because they didn't know how to support us. But when we relied on our church community as our main support people, they were the ones who were there for us, encouraging us in adoption and throwing us the adoption shower. And, we're praying for you and praying for your children and all of the things that are all good when life got really, really hard. Those people were no longer present. They weren't there anymore. There was no one to call. There was no one to talk to. There was no one to say, I need help. Because the response was silence. And it's not intentional. I don't think anyone was intentionally trying to hurt us. But when it comes to mental illness and trauma and big behavior issues, people have no idea how to respond. And that goes past the church piece. I think people see me on social media and see the number of followers that I have and assume that I have this community in real life, that I have people who support me, that I have people. Uh, the reality of that looks very, very different. And I think maybe I feel a little bit bitter because I think if we still had church, then maybe we would still have some form of community. But you take church away, and you take much of my ability to work outside of the house away. And the reality is, we've had incredibly little family support throughout this process. There isn't a community. There is not support. There's the occasional friend who will check in and tell me they're thinking about me, send me coffee or something. Outside of that, which I'm very grateful for, by the way, I really appreciate those check-ins. Um, I don't have friends. That will make me cry to say it out loud. I don't have friends. And part of that is on me. That is my hurt from everything that happened with church. It is my feeling that our family has been a burden on other people for so long, because how long can you live in crisis before other people are tired of hearing about your crisis? Like, we haven't had one crisis. We've had a crisis every day for years. Like, one crisis ends and the next one immediately starts. There isn't a break. There's not good parts. Like, it has been constant crisis. I don't expect people to stick around for that. I don't expect them to be able to feel like they can carry me through that. So I don't rely on people. I have no expectation of that from other people. I have my husband, and that is one of very, very few. It is hard for me. I'm choosing my words carefully as I say this, because I don't want to hurt people and I don't want to offend people. Not my goal at all. But both of us come from these very strong Christian families. And those very strong Christian families have not been present at all through this process. Um, when I say we haven't had respite outside of summer camp, I mean, I really wish that someone in our family would say, "Hey, can we take your daughter for a couple nights? Can we help?" But there isn't any of that. One of the most painful pieces, I think, of all of it is, in the midst of everything that has happened within our family, our marriage came very close to ending. We discussed divorce. We were we were in a very, very bad place. And at that point, we'd been married, what, 27, 28 years? Like, this is long term, what other people, I think, would see as a strong marriage. And we were falling apart very, very quickly. It was awful. So you add our marriage disintegrating on top of everything that's happening within our family. And that added to the bitterness for me, because what I wanted in the middle of that was for other people to see me. I just wanted other people to see that my marriage is struggling. Please offer help. Don't wait until everything falls apart and then step in and say, "You're so sorry." Offer some help right now. I need people right now. I don't need people later. I need people right now. And there hasn't been. That is not a complaint from me. That is a reality. That is just the truth of what things have been, which has been painful. And I very much understand that other people have their own struggles. And I cannot have the expectation that other people have the capacity to carry mine as well. And because I like the word and, uh, the piling up of all of these things pushed me, especially, very far from God, far from church. I would say further from church than from God as a whole, but I really want nothing to do with the church body at this point in time. I feel so hurt by people who could not see that I was in the middle of the ocean, waving my hands in the air, saying, "I'm drowning. Like, look at me right now. I am sinking. I need help. I'm going under. You have to do something right now because I'm sinking." And these people all stood on the shore and watched me. And some of them said, "Well, what kind of help would you like?" Or they said, "We can help you later." And that wasn't helpful because I was actively drowning. When you're actively drowning, you can't tell people what to do and how to do it and when to do it and where to do it. You just want somebody to jump in. Throw me the life jacket. Just move. Just help me. See me. And not feeling seen was really painful. That doesn't mean I believe God is bad. It means I'm angry at people. There's my honest. That's the bottom line. I am angry at people, which is sad to me because I really do love people as a whole. I've always loved people, and coming out of the other side of this whole experience has left me in a place that I call boundaries, but what it really is just anger. I haven't said that out loud yet. I'm just angry that people have not been here when I needed them to be. And so my boundary is I don't really want anything to do with anyone right now because you weren't here for me when I needed you, which was for a long time. I'm okay. Like, as I'm saying all of this, my voice is cracking a little bit and it makes me cry a little bit because it's stuff I have not talked about out loud, but I'm okay. The other side of this, which I think is where we're at, is going to be okay. I know that it is. And also, I give myself permission to be frustrated and angry and feel all the things at all the people. That's okay. I think it's okay. And if I feel a little frustrated at God, I think He can handle it because He's pretty big like that. Anyway, if this resonates with you, if this is something you've struggled with too, I'd love to hear that from you. It has felt very lonely to me for a long time and not something I have felt like I could talk about. Because how do you tell people you don't like church anymore because of how people treated you? That feels ugly. Anyway, take care of you. Um, Next week, my goal is to get my husband on here. We'll see if I can be successful or not. Have a good day. Thanks for being here, listening, feeling, and sitting with the hard stuff. If you've ever whispered a story like mine, I'd love to hear from you. You can leave me a message at mombehindthescenes.com because every story told gives someone else permission to share theirs. This is Things I Can't Say, the podcast for things you whisper, not post. Until next time, take care of yourself.